So my professional background is actually in banking. I used to be engaged with Barclays Capital and UBS, leading their wealth management asset division as a head of sales. And later, in 2015, I joined a crypto company from Silicon Valley and helped them to get licensed in Switzerland, which later became a regulatory breakthrough for our industry in Switzerland. Smart Valor acts as a trusted gateway to blockchain tech. On the retail side, we offer our customers advanced trading, brokerage, custody, and staking services, as well as asset wealth management for high net worth individuals. On the business side, B2B business, we offer the same technology to banks and fintechs to enable them to offer digital assets to their customers. We offer the services to the customers from 130 countries, and the variety of assets is very broad. There are digital currencies, cryptocurrencies, blockchain protocols, decentralized finance, and metaverse assets. The potential of blockchain technology is very broad. This is basic layer technology that is going to enable financial services and payments in the next iteration of internet, the metaverse. It's not just a technology for payments and finance, but even more so for digitalization or tokenization of any type of assets, right? What you today see as a non-fungible tokens representing digital art, this is how we're gonna represent, own, exchange, and transfer any type of ownership of physical goods and possessions in the future. So the future is a metaverse. Yes, sure. So the Valor Prime, this is a brand for the NFT marketplace. Valor Prime is offering an opportunity for customers to buy digital assets using fiat currencies because the NFT marketplace is integrated with our exchange. So the big advantage is that people don't need to set up, MetaMask wallets and to be, insiders in tech. They can use their credit card or just bank wire to fund their accounts and buy NFTs from there. And they can also store NFTs with us. And there are exciting pilot projects coming up to tokenize the real life assets that we are looking forward to launching this year. Well, we have very diversified revenue sources, starting with exchange, where we basically charge a transaction fee for buy and sell orders and a certain way of a custody fee. But also on the asset management side, we have management and performance fee. We generate also revenues with market making and trading, managing our treasury. And lastly, the new revenue source is with banks, where we license our technology and basically share the revenues generated with banks' customers. Well, I think, short term, there are different opinions, but the long-term outlook is great because, it's very new asset space and it depends on where you look. You just look on Bitcoin, which is digital gold, or you look into, protocols, which are basically a giant decentralized transaction processing systems such as Ethereum, or you look at the second layer applications built on the top of those. This is all technology companies which basically, don't have share as a representation of participation, but a token. And this token, this asset, this is what is traded on exchanges such as Smart Valor. And of course, the outlook is bright because it's such a young industry and the fundamental technology is just being built up. So our strategy is basically to grow in three directions. So first of all, the fundamental part is our B2C retail business with retail users. Here we are focusing on German-speaking countries, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, Germany, but also now looking into expanding in Sweden because it's a very interesting market, underserved market, great market with very active equity investors, but still not really, there is no established exchange here in Sweden. That's one part. The second part is our B2B business. So this is a business, basically, software as a service business with banks and fintechs. And here in this space, it's huge opportunity. Look, here in Europe, we have 10,000 banks and fintechs. And 2/3 of these companies will need to figure out how they can offer digital assets to their customers. We act as a trusted partner and enabler for banks and fintech companies. And lastly, you see the extension of assets outside of the cryptocurrencies and the digital assets that we see today into the space of tokenized real assets or non-fungible tokens, NFT. This is exciting field. There we are going forward and expanding with our NFT marketplace, and we see a huge potential there. So we've seen a great development and great traction on our exchange. So since 2020 summer, we've been operating the exchange in full capacity. During the last 12 months and in December 2021, the transaction volume growth on the platform reached 1,000%. This is quite an impressive growth rate. So we kind of entered the scaling phase on the B2C side, but also we see quite a good traction on the B2B side. So business with banks, we're currently integrating with the first several banks and will be rolling out our services in partnerships this year. Well, I think it's very early to speak about competitors. This space is so new. But to simplify things, you can separate companies into purely technology company who provide technology for banks, for digital assets, and financial services companies that operate retail B2C business. With the fusion of two, we have B2C business serving digital assets to the end customer, to retail users, but we also provide the same technology to the banks. So with this interesting play and on the intersection of B2B and B2C business. I think it's fair to say that today in Europe, we have no similar companies with also the same degree of licensing and authorization on the regulatory levels that we have. Well, when investors look at SMART VALOR, they see key three things. So first of all, we built a world-class technology. Our exchange is capable of processing over 1 million orders per second, and our custody has never been compromised. Number two is a synergetic business model, where on one side we serve retail customers with our exchange and asset management, but on the other side, we leverage the same technology to give it to banks and financial technology companies. And third is our financial performance, where we not just managed to achieve quite impressive revenues last year of 7.7 million Swiss franc, but also keep the company break-even on operational profit side ever since inception. This is something that for technology companies is very difficult to achieve because it's the early stages, you invest in growth and technology, and this is where we clearly stand out. And all of this obviously delivered by a management team with a very strong track record, which, not just achieved traction, but also managed to engage very well-known investors in Switzerland, but also internationally.